What's happening, cat daddies and foxy mamas? It's the Blaxploitation fanatic back with another episode of the Blaxploitation Appreciation Podcast, where we celebrate Blaxploitation culture from movies to music to books and everything in between. So, first things first, pimple. All right, now that that's out the way, our movie for this week is technically not a Blaxploitation movie in the sense of it didn't come out during the Blaxploitation genre in 1970s and all that good stuff. But this week's movie, Black Dynamite, is unquestionably it is an homage to the Blaxploitation genre. And I got to tell you, man, I love this movie. It came out in 2009, and it's a spoof that pays homage to the Blaxploitation era, and it does a phenomenal job at doing so. So, who do you have in this particular one? You got my man Michael Jai White, known for, action, karate type of movies. And he, along with Byron Menz, who played Bullhorn in the movie, they wrote this movie. And again, it was just kind of showing their appreciation for the Blaxploitation genre. Now, I call it a spoof that pays homage. And some people say, oh, yeah, like I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker came out in 1989. And the difference between that one and this one is that I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, which I remember us in school early to go see that when I was in high school. But the difference between that and this one is I'm Gonna Get You Sucker was more about, it paid homage to Blaxploitation, but it was kind of like taking Blaxploitation characters and placing them into current day settings, the time 1989. This one it's just straight up, it's written and it's comes across as if it was a 1970s Blaxploitation movie. In fact, had, other than some of the obvious satire and spoof, if you just kind of looked at it against some of the movies from the 1970s, you almost wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. So I love this movie just for that alone. And in addition to Michael Jai White, Byron Menz, there were some heavy hitters in this movie, man. You had, right there on the screen there. So you have Sally Richardson playing Gloria Gray. And if you look at her, man, she looks so much like Pam Grier. I mean, the way they made her up, it's like she almost looks like Coffee or Foxy Brown in a sense. You got Kim Whitley playing Honeybee, who is, she's kind of like the equivalent of Queen Bee from the Dolomite movies. You got man, Cedric Garber playing a pimp named Chocolate Giddy Up. He had a funny scene of a play. Arsenio Hall playing a pimp named Tasty Freeze. You have Michael T. Williamson playing. He wasn't really a pimp. He was a hustler, drug dealer working for the man type of deal, but Dave Chicago win. And then my man Tommy Davidson, which I have a scene with, playing a little hustler named Cream Corn. So that's just some of the heavy hitters. But others who were in the movie, you had the Kevin Chapman, white dude from Person of Interest. He played the cricket cop named O'Leary. You had Oba Babatunde, who you know from a lot of movies. He was the dude that was in Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin. He played kind of like a senior pimp named Osiris. But others, you had comedians like Buddy Lewis. You had a singer, Brian McKnight was in this movie. I think his scene got cut though, because I don't remember. He played a pimp named Sweetmeat. Nicole Ari Parker, I know her scene got cut playing Mahogany Black. But you had Phil Morris, you had Miguel Nunez, Tucker Smallwood, basketball player John Sally, Nicole Sullivan, and Bokeem Woodbine. Just, it was like a litany of people from, actors that you would know from nowadays that really played good characters in this movie. So, and another thing I love about like the plot is basically it's kind of like he took a bunch of tropes from the Blaxploitation era, but it's about Black Dynamite's brother gets killed. He's trying to avenge his brother's death, which is a kind of like a common trope in a lot of or a common plot in a lot of Blaxploitation movies. But some of the like tropes and just things that you would see in 1970s blaxploitation movies that they made sure to incorporate in this one. You had the hero avenging the brother's death. Of course, like I said, Black Dynamite's brother got killed. He's trying to avenge his death. You had there was the kung fu scenes and the sounds. So during the kung fu sites, you're taken back to all of Jim Kelly's movies, basically with the so all of that stuff was going on. You had the funky soul music, like the soundtrack was done by music producer Adrian Young, and it was like music that described scenes as they was going on, and it was like just funky 70s style. So it just kind of added on to the all that was great about this movie. And one of the interesting things when I was looking at, the soundtrack credits and all that stuff is the Black Dynamite theme. The person that sung that is LaVan Davis. And, if you're familiar with Tyler Perry's House of Pain, the dude that plays Curtis Davis, the big dude, he'd be the one that sung the theme song for Black Dynamite. That's just like, wow, that's crazy. And then other like just things reminiscent of the 70s blaxploitation movies that they incorporated in this was, they purposely did like error shots, like boom mics in the shot. There's a scene where, the boom mic is in the shot, and they kind of made humorous light of it. Like Black Dynamite looks up at it. It's like as if hey, y'all go get this out the shot type of deal. They had scenes with the band in the nightclub that you would see. They had militants in there. They had cricket politicians in there. They had a pimp summit. So you saw like, Arsenio and Cedric Arbor, like I said, Brian McKnight, John Sally, Miguel Nunez, Bokeem Moorback, all those guys played pimps as well. There was like a little pimps on it. So, they had that in there. It was a subversive plot by the man. So that was kind of like the plot twist to it when he found out why his brother got killed. It was kind of like this subversive plot by the man. And even to the point of, so what it was is the man was trying to infiltrate the Black community with this malt liquor that would cause Black men to have shrinking Johnsons. And so it almost reminded me that kind of takes from the plot of Three the Hard Way with the poison water for the Black community type of deal. But as part of that subversive plot, they had this scene with a malt liquor commercial where they have like, it's almost like copying the old Colt 45 commercials with Billy D. Williams. And they had like a dude that was basically like the Billy D. Williams actor, all smooth with the girl on him and stuff. So it's just, man, I love this movie because they just, again, it made light of the blaxploitation era, but not making it look bad. It's just, you could tell these guys really had appreciation for the blaxploitation genre. Really everybody involved, because they just brought it, man. And it's a comedy, a lot of funny scenes in it, but one of the things that you had Black Dynamite, he's like just kind of like that Shaft type of Superfly Fred Williamson type of character, just real cool and smooth. So let me show you this scene where he was Sally Richardson as Gloria Gray was kind of like checking him, and he just kind of has like a smooth retort. So let's check that one out real quick.
Let me guess. You're one of these Tom Slick brothers think you can get by on good looks, a wink and a smile, huh?
I don't know about Tom Slick, but thank you for the compliments.
That's not what I meant. Not that I think that you have good look. I mean, these guys with their...
winks and smiles.
Yeah. What about the smile?
I am smiling.
Is that cool or what? So, unfortunately, Black Dynamite didn't do real well at the box office. I think it was because of a short run. But nevertheless, it has a cult following. Anybody that truly appreciates blaxploitation, I haven't heard anybody like that loves blaxploitation have a bad thing to say about this movie. They just, again, recognize it for what it is, which is an homage to the blaxploitation genre. So much so that it has that cult following that morphed into, they have an animated series, they had comic books. They intended to do a sequel, but I guess that never came to light. But Michael J. White in 2023 did a movie called Outlaw Johnny Black, and I guess that's quote unquote the spiritual sequel to Black Dynamite. But all in all, man, it's just a great fun movie to watch. And even though it's technically not blaxploitation when you look at the genre, it is definitely blaxploitation when you look at the movie in and of itself. So a couple other scenes I want to show you. Oh, this is one where let's talk about the Cedric Yarborough and the Pimp Chocolate Giddy Up. So this is kind of like where Black Dynamite declares or says he's gonna rid the streets of the drug dealers. So peep this one out real quick.
I just got one thing to lay on you cats and then I'll split. I am declaring war on anybody who sells drugs in our community.
But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community.
I sell drugs to the community. That is hilarious. And then just one other scene, I just thought this was hilarious. Like this is a scene where Black Dynamite and Gloria are walking, and like I said, Black Dynamite was just a real cool character with getting all the ladies. So this is just like a scene that kind of pokes fun at him having a lot of ladies, having his way with a lot of ladies. So let's check that.
Hi, girls. What is your name?
I'm Shawanda, and her name's Brickwilla.
Oh, those are beautiful names. I'm Gloria, and this is Black Dynamite.
My mama said my daddy's name is Black Dynamite. So did my mama.
Oh, hush up, little girls. A lot of cats have that name.
Hush up, little girl. The cat's out that name. A couple of things that stood out in that scene for me that was hilarious. The second little girl, her name was Brickwell. And then Gloria was like, oh, those are beautiful names. And then the music that was playing in the background, the music was all sweet and soft. And then when the second little girl said, yeah, my mama said my daddy's name is Black Dynamite, you could hear the music kind of like abruptly cut when his face changed. So again, man, I would think a lot of blaxploitation fanatics, since this was a more recent one, even though it's still all in 2009, that's over 15 years old. But I would think that a lot of people have seen this. But if you have never seen Black Dynamite and you are truly a fan of blaxploitation, you gotta see this one, man, because again, you really and thoroughly enjoy it. So Black Dynamite, make sure to check it out. All right. Okay. So let's shift over to the book for this week. And the book is, again, this one technically isn't blaxploitation either. It's a book called The Detroit Connection. And this one came out in 1982, which, again, outside of the blaxploitation genre. But it, to me, has all the kind of storyline and the makings of blaxploitation paperbacks, and the storyline, the characters, the whole nine, the dialogue, and all that. And when I think of, like I said, a good blaxploitation paperback to me is one that I think would have made a good blaxploitation movie, and I think this would have. Okay, so what it's about, The Detroit Connection, is a hustler takes the proceeds from one of his criminal capers and basically parlays that into a legitimate business, which is a record company. And the cool thing about this one that I enjoyed as well is this took place. So his record company is in Detroit. The whole story took place in Detroit. So that was kind of like another reason for my excitement over this one. And it mentioned throughout a lot of places in Detroit that I was familiar with, and actually mentioned some people, some character names of prominent Detroit figures. So that kind of endeared me to this particular one as well. So Detroit Connection, pretty cool. Some interesting side notes is, it was written by Fritz Hale in 1982, came out on Holloway House also. But a couple of interesting notes in this one is one of the main characters in the book is a lawyer by the name of Steve Fisherman. Now, anybody who's familiar with Detroit from back in the late 70s, early 80s, we had a lawyer by the name of Steve Fishman who he's one of the most iconic lawyers in the city's history. He was known for representing some of the top drug dealers during the time and hustlers from back in the day. So I wonder if, Fritz Hale came up with the name and patterned his Steve Fisherman character after iconic lawyer Steve Fisherman. Who knows? My guess is he probably did. But this Detroit Connection, definitely a good read to pick up. And when I go out and look on, trying to locate this one, I think you could probably find this one fairly easy. And because it came out in the 80s, it shouldn't be too expensive. I mean, probably like $50 or less. So not as high as some of the, older and first edition Blaxploitation paperbacks. But if you want to see more like that, as always, make sure to go check out the Blaxploitation paperbacks website. All right. And then that brings us to our music for the week. And if you haven't caught the theme of this one, this technically isn't during the Blaxploitation era when it was released, but the artist is named Darondo. And there's two albums I'm going to talk about. This one, Let My People Go, and this one, Listen to My Song. And if you look at him, man, he was some people say he was a pimp. Like when you look at that, you say, oh yeah, I can see he was a pimp. But he used to drive around in a white white Rolls Royce with personalized plates saying Darondo, but he claimed in interviews he was never a pimp. But anyway, he released music in the 70s, he made music in the 70s, made several songs in the 70s. And even from what I found is he kind of opened up for James Brown. He was a Bay Area legend, so out on the West Coast in the Bay Area. So had some local hits like Didn't I was a major local hit for him. But he even opened up for James Brown during some concerts, my understanding. But his music was not, I guess he ran into some discrepancies with the record company that had produced the music. So I don't think it was officially released where you could find the album anywhere, but in 2006 and in 2011. So I think this one, Let My People Go, I think they released a record company, a totally different one from who he recorded with. Somebody got a hold of the recordings and they put this one out in 2006 and then Listen to My Song, this one in 2011, or vice versa. But when you listen to this, man, it is definitely 1970s funk soul, kind of got that Blaxploitation vibe all throughout. So when I came across this, I was like, when I first heard this, even like way back when this podcast wasn't even a twinkle in my eye, I was like, dang, this dude sound like, he could have been on Blaxploitation soundtracks and Blaxploitation movies. So this one right here, Didn't I? This is the most famous cut, or the one that became a local hit for him. So yeah, that one's smooth. This one, Get Up Off Your Butt. This kind of has like a little James Brown vibe to it. So I think yeah, people funk in that. Then this last one I'm gonna play. This one is the one that really stood out to me. Like, I mean, several of them stood out as Blaxploitation-esque, but this one really stood out. It's called I'm Gonna Love You. So yeah, man, Darondo, funky soul music. He has like strong voice. It hits some falsetto notes and things like that. But it's definitely go peep it, check his stuff out. I think you'll really enjoy it. All right. So and then y'all know what we've been doing. The Blaxploit Me entry for this week is from my man, the Cardinal Dave. Is one of my good friends. He did this poster, karate poster, Black Chinaman and the Goon from Wondergore. If you know Cardinal Dave, this wouldn't surprise you, but most people look at this like, where did that title come from? The Goon from Wondergore, but what is that? But if you know Cardinal Bay, you're like, yeah, that's him. So thought that was cool that he went out and did that. So again, if you want to go out and be the star of your own Blaxploitation movie or book, hit up blaxploitme.com. Go do it. And we might even you give me permission. I ain't gonna just throw your stuff up here, but if you give me the go ahead, I'll go ahead and plug you on the show as well. All right. So that's what we got for you, cat daddies and foxy mamas. Let's go ahead and make a beeline out this week. So again, our movie, Black Dynamite, technically not from the Blaxploitation era, but definitely a Blaxploitation movie. Our book, The Detroit Connection, again, technically not from the Blaxploitation era, but Blaxploitation vibe all throughout. And then lastly, our music, 2 albums, Listen to My Song and Let My People Go by Darondo, which are technically not in the Blaxploitation era, but definitely Blaxploitation-esque. Well, really, they were recorded during the Blaxploitation era. It's just not released until much later. Okay, so that's what we got for you this week, cat daddies and foxy mamas. As always, I love y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hey.